The Leadership Challenge by James M. Kouzes and Barry Z. Posner. Picture this. You're 18 years old, walking into your first real job at a family-owned jewelry company with decades of tradition behind it. Fast forward 18 years. You've climbed from the sales floor all the way to the executive suite, and suddenly your phone rings with news that changes everything. The company's in crisis. The family member who was running things just walked out the door. Morale is tanking, profits are circling the drain, and the people who've been your colleagues for nearly 2 decades seem to have lost their spark. Then comes the offer. They want you to be the new head honcho. You'd be the first outsider and the first woman to ever run the place. Sounds like Hollywood drama, right? Except this actually happened to Anna Blackburn at Beaverbrooks the Jewelers in the United Kingdom. Put yourself in her shoes for a moment. How would you step into that chaos? How would you help people find their way through the fog and reignite their faith in the company, and more importantly, in themselves? Here's what Anna didn't do. She didn't march in with a fancy 10-point plan. Instead, she did something surprisingly simple. She sent out a survey to everyone in the company, from the people unpacking boxes in the stockroom to the folks in the corner offices, asking one straightforward question: what qualities do you most want to see in your new leader? The answers came back clear: honesty, inspiration, competence, and vision. When Anna stood up at her first all-hands meeting, she shared exactly what people had told her, and then made a promise she intended to keep. She would work her tail off to become the leader they described. That one act of genuinely listening, of putting her team's needs front and center, kicked off an incredible turnaround. And it perfectly captures the spirit of one of the most influential leadership books ever written, The Leadership Challenge. For more than 30 years, across 6 editions and millions of copies, authors James Kouzes and Barry Posner have been chasing down the answer to one deceptively simple question: what did you do when you were leading at your absolute best? Here's the thing. They didn't just interview corporate titans or military commanders. They talked to everyday people from all walks of life: middle managers, community volunteers, students, even parents. And from thousands of these personal stories, something remarkable emerged. They discovered that when we're leading at our peak, we all do the same fundamental things. Leadership isn't some mystical gift you're either born with or not. It's not about the fancy title on your business card or the size of your office. It's a collection of specific, observable behaviors that anyone can learn. Today, I'm going to walk you through those behaviors. By the time we're done, you'll understand the 5 core practices that can unlock the leader hiding inside you. You'll have a practical roadmap for earning trust, painting an inspiring picture of the future, and helping others achieve things they never imagined possible. Because here's the real secret of this book. It's not just about leading others. It's about discovering the extraordinary potential that's already inside you, just waiting to come out. So where does this leadership journey actually start? Ask most people, and they'll point to a nameplate on a door or an impressive title on LinkedIn. But Kouzes and Posner found something completely different. Leadership isn't a position you occupy. It's a relationship you cultivate. And just like any meaningful relationship, it starts with one essential ingredient: trust. Think about the people you'd follow anywhere, not because you have to, but because you genuinely want to. What makes them different? The authors spent decades asking over 100,000 people worldwide this exact question. The answers are remarkably consistent across cultures and industries. We follow people who are, first and foremost, honest. We need to know they're truthful and have solid principles. Second, they need to be competent. They've got to have the skills and track record to back up their words. Third, they must be inspiring, bringing energy, positivity, and genuine optimism about what's possible. And finally, they need to be forward-looking, with a clear sense of where we're all headed together. Honest, competent, inspiring, and forward-looking. These 4 qualities form what the authors call credibility. And this leads directly to what they call the first law of leadership. If you don't believe in the messenger, you won't believe the message. It's beautifully simple and brutally true. All the brilliant strategies and eloquent speeches in the world fall flat if people don't trust the person delivering them. Credibility is everything. So how do you actually build it? How do you become someone others see as credible? When people are asked what credibility looks like in action, their answer is almost always the same. Credible leaders practice what they preach or walk the talk. This insight led the authors to their second law of leadership, a phrase so powerful it deserves to be tattooed on every leader's brain. Do what you say you will do. Or as they abbreviate it, DWYSYWD. This simple mantra is the master key that unlocks everything else in leadership. It's the bridge connecting your good intentions to your actual impact. And the entire framework of the Leadership Challenge is built on 5 practices that help you live by this law. Let's dive into the 5 practices of exemplary leadership. The first practice is model the way. This is ground zero for leadership. It's the living, breathing embodiment of do what you say you will do. But before you can model anything, you need to get crystal clear on 2 things: your own values and the values your team shares. You've got to know what you stand for before you can lead anyone anywhere. Your values are your internal compass, guiding every decision and action. But knowing them isn't enough. You need to be able to express them in your own authentic words. If you're just reciting corporate buzzwords from a poster in the break room, people will see through it in a heartbeat. Once you've found your own voice, you need to create harmony with your team's voices. Great leaders don't ram their values down people's throats. They build genuine consensus around shared values, creating common ground where everyone feels heard and respected. But identifying values is only half the battle. The other half is setting the example. Your actions are what breathe life into your values. This is where you truly earn credibility. Take Steve Skarke, a plant manager at Kanika, Texas Corporation. For years, his management team had been talking about becoming a quote class plant, and everyone agreed that meant having a strong safety culture and impeccable housekeeping. But when Steve actually looked around, he saw trash everywhere. He knew another memo would be worthless. So one day, he stopped at a hardware store, bought a simple 2-gallon plastic bucket, and wrote, "World-class plant" on the side. Back at the facility, he walked through the plant, picking up trash himself, not saying a word. He just filled his bucket, walked through the main control room where everyone could see him, and emptied it in the trash. Word spread through the plant like wildfire. The plant manager is picking up trash. Soon, other managers started carrying their own buckets. Then, operators and technicians began coming up with their own ideas for keeping things clean. Steve's one small, visible action did more to shift the culture than years of meetings and memos combined. He didn't just talk about being world-class, he lived it. That's modeling the way. Once you're walking your talk, you're ready for the second practice: inspire a shared vision. Leaders trade in hope. They're forward-looking, painting pictures of the future so compelling that others want to be part of making them real. But here's the crucial twist the authors emphasize. It can't be just your vision. It has to be a shared vision. You can't drag people to a destination they have no interest in reaching. You've got to connect your vision to their hopes, dreams, and aspirations. How? First, you genuinely listen. You listen deeply to understand what really matters to the people you hope to lead, what gives their work meaning. You discover the common purpose that already exists within the group. Then you bring that vision to life. You make it tangible and real through vivid language, metaphors, and stories that create powerful mental images. Jan Pakas, a managing director at Hilti Corporation in Australia, nailed this perfectly. When he took over, the company was, in his words, very average. He knew they needed a new direction. But a dry strategic plan wouldn't capture anyone's imagination. The company's signature color happened to be red, while their competitors' tools were blue, yellow, and green on job sites. So John and his team crafted a simple, powerful vision: we're painting Australia red. Suddenly, everyone from sales to shipping had a clear, tangible image of what winning looked like. When they landed a huge contract and watched 140 rental stores switch from blue and yellow tools to Hilti red, they weren't just seeing a business deal. They were watching the vision become reality. The phrase worked on multiple levels. It was logical, emotional, and actionable all at once. That's the power of an inspired shared vision. It gives people a common cause worth rallying around. But here's the thing. A great vision means the present has to change. And change is hard. This brings us to the third practice: challenge the process. Every single personal best leadership story in this book involves change. Nobody ever achieved their personal best by keeping things exactly as they were. Leaders are pioneers. They spot the gap between what is and what could be, and they step forward to close it. They refuse to accept "that's how we've always done it" as a valid reason for anything. But challenging the process doesn't mean you have to personally invent every new idea. In fact, the authors found that innovation often comes more from listening than from telling. It comes from what they call outsight, looking beyond your own experience, your department, even your industry for fresh ideas. This is exactly what Aristotle Verdon did at his storage networking company. Their project management process was a disaster, leading to chaos and budget overruns. Instead of trying to fix it solo, he looked outside. He reached out to a former colleague at another company who'd faced similar challenges. Armed with that outside perspective, he got approval for his team to receive specialized training. But even then, he didn't try to overhaul the entire company overnight. He started small. This is crucial to challenging the process, generating small wins. Aristotle and his team ran pilot projects to test the new approach in a controlled environment. They learned from their experiments, fine-tuned things, and built momentum. These small victories gave everyone the confidence and proof they needed to embrace the new system. Soon they'd reduced project delays and costs by 20%. Challenging the process means being proactive, treating every job as an adventure, and viewing every mistake not as a failure, but as a learning opportunity. Leaders create a climate where it's safe to experiment and take calculated risks. Of course, you can't challenge anything or achieve anything extraordinary all by yourself. Which brings us to the fourth, and perhaps most crucial, practice. Enable others to act. Leadership is a team sport, plain and simple. Big dreams never become reality through one person's efforts alone. To achieve greatness, you need a team built on solid trust and strong relationships. The authors are crystal clear on this. Exemplary leaders don't hoard power, they give it away. They strengthen others by fostering collaboration and enhancing self-determination. They create a climate of trust, where people feel safe sharing ideas, being vulnerable, and supporting each other. Poonam Jadav's story from City Technology Services perfectly illustrates this contrast. She worked under two completely different team leaders. The first didn't trust her team at all. She micromanaged every tiny detail, never allowed anyone to make their own decisions, and only communicated through impersonal emails. The result? A frustrated, demoralized team that consistently underperformed. The second leader was night and day different. She trusted her team members, giving them autonomy to solve problems and make decisions. She interacted face-to-face, listened to concerns, and coached by asking questions rather than dictating answers. She made people feel powerful and capable. The result? Her team was innovative, accountable, and consistently exceeded expectations. She didn't just manage people, she developed them into leaders themselves. Enabling others means building trust by being the first to trust. It means showing genuine concern and truly listening. It means creating cooperative goals where everyone understands we're all in this together. And it means developing your team's competence and confidence so they feel not just willing, but genuinely able to take on bigger challenges. The leadership journey is long and challenging. There will be setbacks, exhaustion, and moments when people want to throw in the towel. This is why the fifth and final practice is so vital. Encourage the heart. Leaders understand that to keep hope and determination alive, you have to recognize contributions and celebrate both the values and the victories. This isn't about generic awards ceremonies or bland annual parties. Encouragement is, as the authors say, curiously serious business. It's about visibly and behaviorally linking rewards with performance and values. Anita Lim's story highlights the stark difference this makes. At one job, her manager ruled through fear, never offered genuine praise, and completely ignored a massive achievement when Anita delivered double-digit sales growth. The result was a toxic environment with sky-high turnover. At her next job, her district manager was completely different. She expected the best because she genuinely believed in her team. She personalized recognition, creating awards for things like Most Improved and Most Courageous. She got personally involved, showing up to congratulate teams in person, sometimes even getting teary-eyed while giving heartfelt speeches. Her actions created a spirit of community where people celebrated each other's wins instead of feeling jealous. Encouraging the heart means expecting the best from people and making sure they know you believe in them. It's about personalizing recognition, because generic approaches feel hollow. It's about creating a sense of community, where people feel connected to something bigger than themselves. And sometimes it's about something as simple, yet powerful, as looking someone in the eye and saying a genuine thank you. So there you have it. The 5 practices of exemplary leadership. Model the way, inspire a shared vision, challenge the process, enable others to act, and encourage the heart. But what really ties all of this together? It's the realization that leadership isn't some grand, abstract theory. It's a deeply human endeavor. When researchers ask people about their greatest leadership role models, who do you think they named? Not famous executives or political figures. Overwhelmingly, they talked about family members, teachers, coaches, and their first bosses. Leadership is local. It's personal. The people around you every day are looking to you for an example of leadership. The difference you can make is staggering. The authors asked thousands of people what percentage of their talent was utilized by their worst leader versus their best leader. The results are eye-opening. People said their worst leaders tapped into just 31% of their talent on average. But their best leaders? They utilized 95% of people's talent. Some even said their best leaders got more than 100% from them, pushing them to do things they never thought possible. That's the leadership challenge. It's the challenge to become the kind of person who brings out the best in others. And it starts not by looking outward at others, but by looking inward at yourself. As we've explored the landscape of the leadership challenge, what strikes me most, even after all these years, is its profound simplicity and deep humanity. In a world drowning in complex management theories and flavor-of-the-month leadership fads, this book brings us back to timeless, fundamental truths about how human beings connect, strive, and achieve great things together. The single most powerful lesson, I believe, is that leadership isn't an exclusive club. It's not destiny reserved for a chosen few with special gifts. It's a choice. It's a set of skills and behaviors anyone with the will to learn can master. This idea is incredibly liberating. It means you, right now, wherever you are in your life, have the capacity to make a positive impact on the people around you. You don't need to wait for a title or permission. You just need to decide to act. The authors end their book with a story that's always stayed with me. They interviewed Major General John H. Stanford, a highly decorated and respected Army leader. When they asked how he would go about developing leaders, his answer wasn't about strategy or tactics. He said, "I have the secret to success in life. The secret to success is to stay in love." He explained that staying in love gives you the fire to ignite other people, to see inside them, to have a greater desire to get things done. Of everything that sustains a leader over time, love is the most lasting. Love for what you do, love for the people you work with, love for the purpose you serve. This brings us to the beautiful conclusion of the book. Leadership is not an affair of the head. Leadership is an affair of the heart. So how do you begin this journey today? You don't need some elaborate plan. You can start with 3 simple actions. First, find your voice. Take 15 minutes tonight. Just you, a piece of paper and a pen. Write down 3 to 5 values you believe in so strongly you'd never compromise them. These are your guiding principles. Getting them on paper is the first step to living them intentionally. Second, challenge the process with a small win. Look around you. At work, at home, in your community. Find one small thing that's broken or inefficient. Don't try to solve world hunger. Just find one small process you can improve. What's one tiny step you can take this week to make it better? That's how change begins. And third, encourage someone's heart. Think of one person who's done something well recently, something that went unnoticed. Go to them, look them in the eye, and tell them specifically what they did and why you appreciate it. A genuine, personal thank you is the most powerful and underused leadership tool we have. That was a summary of the Leadership Challenge by James Kouzes and Barry Posner. We've touched on the core ideas today, but a summary is like looking at a map of a beautiful country. The map can show you the landmarks, but it can never replace the experience of actually walking the trails, meeting the people, and feeling the sun on your face. The real magic of this book lies in the hundreds of stories and deep, practical wisdom woven into every page. If any of the ideas we've discussed today have sparked something in you, I encourage you to pick up a copy. Reading it isn't just about learning a framework, it's about beginning a journey of self-discovery that can fundamentally change how you see yourself and your potential to make a difference. The link to the book is in the description below. Also, if this journey through the world of great ideas has been valuable to you, please take a moment to subscribe and maybe share it with a friend. Our goal here is to keep exploring the books that shape great minds and great lives. Let's keep growing and learning together.